in good health and blissful Krishna consciousness. So, Jayo Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jayo Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunj Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Janavalava, Jayo Girivarodari, Jayo Girivarodari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava, Jaya Girvaradari, Jaya Girvaradari.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana,
Jashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana,
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jayo Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunj Bihari.
Jayo Radha Radonato Radha Radonato Radhe.
Jaya Radha Ratnath Radha Ratnath Radhe.
Jaya Gaurani Tai, Gaurani Tai, Gaurani Tai, Jaya Gaurani Tai.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jayo Nityananda Ram, Jayo Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Jayo Nityananda Ram.
Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram.
Jaya Jagannath, Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami Pavatume.
Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami, Nayana Pathagami Bhavu Tume.
Jayo Pralad Nishringa, Jayo Pralad Nishringa, Jayo Pralad Nishringa, Jayo Pralad Nishringa.
Jaya Prahlad Narsinga, Jaya Prahlad Narsinga, Jaya Prahlad Narsinga, Jaya Prahlad Narsinga.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Jaya
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 Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila
Jaya
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev.
Jaya
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 Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai,
jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai,
Also Tata Srishmad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Go Premanande Hari Hari Hari
Hari Hari
Bol.
Bol.
All girls Muslim devotees, Hare Krishna. All girls
Krishna,
Muslim devotees, Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. All girls Muslim devotees, Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. Really powerful class today. Yeah, wonderful verse, and I hope we can do justice to it by the mercy of Krishna, Guru, and Srila Prabhupada. So
Hari
we'll just
Bol.
do pranams and then we will continue. Narayana Namaskritam Naram
Namaskritam
Chaiva
naram chaiva
Narottamam
narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato
tato
Jayamudiraye
jayamudiraye
Nasta Prayeshu Habadeshu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya
nityam bhagavata sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nayishtiki
Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtiki
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya
Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya
Chakshurumlitam Yena Tashme Shri Guruve Namaha
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः
Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
Chaitanya
स्थापितं येन
Manobishtam
भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं
Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati
ददाति
Swapadantikam
स्वपदान्तिकम्
He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate
हे कृष्ण करुणा
Gopisha
सिन्धु
Gop
दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त
Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta
राधाकान्त
Namostute
नमोऽस्तुते
Tapta Kanchana
कञ्चन
Gourangi
गौराङ्गी
Radhe
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
Vrindavaneshware
वृषभानुसुते
Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Shri Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Cha Patitanam
पतितानां
Pavanebhyo
पावनेभ्यो
Vaishnavyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shati
शिवासादि
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
गौरभक्तवृन्दा
Everybody Hare Krishna
हरे
Krishna
कृष्ण कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Hare
हरे
Hare
हरे हरे
Hare Rama
राम
Hare
राम
Rama
राम हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare Hare
हरे
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण कृष्ण
Krishna
हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare
राम
Ramo
हरे
Hare
राम
Ramo
राम
Ramo
राम
Ramo
हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare Hare
हरे
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण कृष्ण
Hare
हरे हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare
हरे
Ramo
राम
Ramo
राम
Ramo
राम हरे
Hare.
हरे
Thank you all very much. It's because of the delay in Zoom, it's so hard for us to say it simultaneously. Thank you for joining in. So today's Bhagavatam class is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 558. I think we say this in anyway. Pumsha Shriya Murti Anibhavamitam.
पुंसः स्त्रिया मिथुने भावमेतम्
Pumsha Shriya Mit Anibhavamitam.
ॐ
पुंसः श्रिया
प्रियामिथुने
मिथुने भावमेतम्
Pumsha Shriya Mit Anibhavamitam.
पुंसः स्त्रिया मिथुने
प्रियामिथुने
भावमेतम्
भावमेताम्
Tayormito Ritaya Grantim Ahuhaha.
तयोर्मिथो
तयोर्मिथो हृदया
हृदय ग्रन्थिमाहो
Tayormito Ritaya Grantim Aho.
तयोर्मिथो
तयोर्मिथो
हृदयं ग्रन्थिमाहो
Aho, when there's a dot under the H, it is actually pronounced twice the H. So
Tadam.
Tayormito Ridaya Grantim Aho.
तयोर्मिथ हृदय
हृदय ग्रन्थिम्
ग्रन्थिमाहुः
अहो
Ato Griha Shitrasutapta Vitehe.
अतो
अतो गृहक्षेत्रसुताप्तवित्तये
गृहाक्षेत्रसुतात्मवितैर्
Ato Griha Shitrasutapta Vitahe.
अतो
अतो
गृहक्षेत्र सुताप्तवित्तैर्
आतो गृहाशित्रसोताप्ता वीताहे
अतो
अतो गृहक्षेत्र
गृहक्षेत्राप्तवित्तैर्
सुताप्तवित्तैर्
जन आश्यो मोहयम् अहं मम इति
जनस्य
जनस्य मोहोऽयं
मोहोऽयमहमहमेति
अहमहमेति
जन आश्यो मोहोऽयम् अहं ममिति
जन्यस्य मोहम् अहं ममेति
जनस्य मोहोऽयमहममेति
Prabhu's Mataji's
पुंसा स्त्रिया मिथुनि भावम् एतं तयोर्मिथो
पुंसः
पुंसा
श्रियामिथुनि
Shashriyato
भावमेतम्
भावमेतम्
Nitavam
हृद्या ग्रन्थिम् अहुः अतो गृहा क्षेत्र सुतप्तवीते
तयोर्मिथो हृदयग्रन्थिमाहुः
अतो
अतो
गृहा क्षेत्र सुतप्तवीते
अतो
अतो
गृहक्षेत्रसुताप्तवित्ते
गृहक्षेत्रसुताप्तवित्तैर्
ज्ञानस्य मोहोऽयम् अहं मामेति
जनस्य
जनस्य मोहोऽयम् अहं
मोहोऽयमहममेति
ममेति
Sorry, I could
पुंसः
not do it very well.
No, it was
Alright,
fine,
Mataji,
Mataji.
Mataji,
oh,
you did
good.
very well, better than I
Very
did.
good, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
पुंसः श्रियामिथुनि भावमेतम्
पुंसा श्रिया मिथुनि भावम्
मिथुनिभावमेतम्
एतम्
तयोर्मिथो हृदयग्रन्थिमाहुः
तयोर्मिथो
मिथो
हृदयग्रन्थिम् आहुः
हृदयग्रन्थिमाहुः
अतो ग्रहक्षेत्रसुताप्तवित्तैर्
अतो गृहक्षेत्र
गृहक्षेत्रसुतप्तवित्ते
सुताप्तवेतुर्
जनस्य मोहोऽयमहममेति
जनस्य
जनस्य
मोहोऽयम्
मोहोऽयम्
अहं
अहं
महमेति
ममेति
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण
पुंसा श्रिया
Very well.
मिथुनि भावमेतम्
पुंसः
ॐ
श्रियामिथुनि भावमेतम्
श्रियामिथुनिभावमेतम्
तयोर्मिथो हृदयग्रन्थिम् आहुः
तयोर्मिथो
मिथो
हृदयग्रन्थिमाहुः
हृदयग्रन्थिमाहुः
अतो गृहक्षेत्र सुताप्तवित्तैर्
अतो
अतो
गृहक्षेत्रसुताप्तवित्तैर्
गृहक्षेत्रसुतप्तवित्ते
जनस्य मोहोऽयम् अहं ममेति
जनस्य
जनस्य मोहोऽयम् अहं
मोहोऽयमहममेति
ममेति
Very well. My apologies. For some reason, I'm struggling to share the screen. I noticed it was not shared. I'm just trying to share it.
Yeah, it's
Is
visible,
it sharing the
Prabhuji.
wrong screen?
Yeah, we can
Hmm?
see it. We
We
can
can
see it.
see.
Oh, can you? All right. Thank you. Sorry. All right. Okay.
Sloka
So,
8.
Pumsha.
Now, Prabhuji, it's chapter 3 you have shared. It's a 5. 558.
All right. All right. Just a second. Yeah. It's not sharing on, I'm not showing on my side. So 1 second. Is it? Okay.
You are the
I'll
co-host,
just
so
keep
you
sharing.
don't
Let's just carry on without sharing. Sorry, Mataji's Prabhu's. I'll just, my apology. Yeah, for some reason, it's not sharing the one that I've got opened. Alrighty. Pumsha
Punsa.
Pumsha
of a male.
of a
Of a
male.
of a male.
Shreya
Shreya.
Priya
Priyaha
of a female.
Of
of
a
a
female.
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 Mithuni Bhavan.
Mithuni
Mithuni
Bhavam.
Bhavam.
Attraction for sexual life.
Attraction for
Attraction
sexual
for
life.
sexual life.
Itham,
Etam,
this.
this.
Tayur,
Tayoha,
Tayor.
of both of them.
of both of
both
them.
of
Then
Mitaha,
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 between one another.
between one
one
another.
another.
Hridaya Granthim,
Hridaya
Hridaya
Granthim,
Granthim,
the knot of the arts.
the knot of the hearts.
Aho,
Ahu,
Aho,
they call.
they
they
call.
call.
Ataha,
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 thereafter.
thereafter.
Griha,
Griha, Griha,
by home.
by home.
Shitra,
Kshetra,
Kshetra,
field.
field.
Shuta,
Sutta,
children.
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 Apta,
Apta,
relatives.
relatives.
Vitehe,
Vittahe,
and by wealth.
and by
By
wealth.
wealth.
Janasya,
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 of the living being.
of the
of
living
the living
being.
being.
Mohaha,
Moha,
Mohaha,
illusion.
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 Ayam,
I am
Ayam,
this.
this.
Aham,
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 I.
I.
Mama,
mama,
mine.
Mine.
Iti,
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 thus.
thus.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The attraction between
The attraction between
male and female
male and female
is the basic principle
is the basic principle
of material existence.
of material existence.
On the basis
on the basis
of this misconception,
Of this misconception,
which ties together
which ties together
the hearts of the male and female,
the hearts
the
of the
hearts of
male
a
and
male and
female,
female,
one becomes attracted
one
becomes
becomes attracted
to his body,
to his body,
to his body,
home,
home,
property,
property,
children,
children,
relatives,
relatives,
and wealth.
and wealth.
In this way,
In this way,
one increases life's illusions
one increases life's illusions
and thinks in terms of
and thinks
and
in
thinks in
terms
terms
of
I and mine.
I
I
am
and mine.
Fine.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
mine.
Sex serves as the natural attraction between man and woman. And when they are married, their relationship becomes more involved. Due to the entangling relationship between man and woman, there is a sense of illusion whereby one thinks, this man is my husband, or this woman is my wife. This is called Hridaya Granthi, the hard knot in the heart. This knot is very difficult to undo. Even though a man and a woman separate, either for principles of Varnashram or simply to get a divorce, in any case, the man always thinks of the woman and the woman always thinks of the man. Thus, a person becomes materially attached to family, property, and children, although all of these are temporary. The possessor unfortunately identifies with his property and wealth. Sometimes, even after renunciation, one becomes attached to a temple or to a few things that constitute the property of a sannyasi. But such attachment is not as strong as family attachment. The attachment to the family is the strongest illusion. In the Satya Samhita, it is stated, Brahmadya Yagna Valkadya Brahmadya Yagna Valkadya Mochyantisti Sa'ayana Bodhyanti Khela Netashyam Vishesham Cha Viduhu. Sometimes it is found among exalted personalities like Lord Brahma that the wife and the children are not a cause of bondage. On the contrary, the wife actually helps further spiritual life and liberation. Nonetheless, most people are bound by the knots of material relationship, and consequently, they forget their relationship with Krishna. Once there was a Brahmana who had only one loincloth. But this Brahmana had one difficulty. He was always troubled by a mouse. So what he did was, it was constantly troubling him, and it affected his sadhana. So what he did was, he got a cat. So when he got the cat, he needed to take care of the cat. He needed milk. So then he got a cow. So then what happened? He needed someone to look after the cow. So he got a wife. And then the wife needed somewhere to stay. So he got land, built a house, and an estate. And so he had to get people to look after the house. And so he got servants. And to take care of the house, the cat, the cow, he had to afford them. He had to maintain this. So he had to get a job. All this only because he wanted to protect one loincloth. So this is the nature of all of us. So on this verse, when I was reading this verse, it struck to me that how this was considered to be so degraded, even up to the time when Prabhupada was writing the purport, which was not even 50 years ago. Prabhupada stressed how family life is such a terrible entanglement, how the relationship between man and woman is so abominable, right? But he also said there's a mixed feeling over there, but it's although this is a general consensus, it's not the rule, because he gave the example of later on how sometimes family life or good Grihastha ashram can be conducive for spiritual life. So he says, although this is the majority, and you know what it said about majority. It said the majority sometimes means that all the fools are on the same side. That majority sometimes means that all the fools are on the same side. But there's always exceptions to the rule. And Srila Prabhupada is trying to create an environment where we are an exception to the rule. But let's go further and see, Srila Prabhupada also emphasized that even if we think that we are in a renounced order, we are sannyasis, that this illusion, this knot, the Hridaya Granthi, this Hridaya Granthi, the knot is so deep, it's so subtle, that even when we become renounced, we become attached to subtle things. We might become attached to a temple, we might become attached to a zone, we might become attached to disciples, we might become attached to the prestige that comes with that renounced order. So sometimes, it does not mean that just because you're a Grihastha, that you are affected by this knot of attachment. Srila Prabhupada mentioned very carefully in this verse that we have to be very mindful in whatever form of life we may be, that we are not caught up by this strong knot of attachment. Now, I'll expand on the knot, in a little bit, but basically, on the overview, I'm saying is that we have to be mindful that this knot is there in every aspect of life. Now, the other thing that struck me on this verse is Prabhupada mentioned the relationship and how strong bonds that keep us in this material world is between man and woman. And if you look at the Prabhupada wrote this purport, I would say, in about 50 years ago. in the last 50 years, how we've degraded, that this, what Prabhupada is saying is in the lowest form, is actually the highest form of the current society. Because these days, there's not relationship between man and woman. There's so many binaries. There's relationship between man and man, woman and woman, and there's about 5 or 8 different binaries. And people say we don't want to be identified, we don't want to be classed man or woman. So it's becoming to a very much a very confused society. In fact, whatever is mentioned in this verse, and that was considered to be very low class in previous ages, in this current age, it is the highest dharma. If you have a nice wife, you have a nice husband, you live together nicely, you take care of children, who can do that in this current day and age? We have blended societies. I remember once, many years ago, one Western devotee, his name was Kapila Prabhu, was telling me, he came and picked me up from home and we were walking to the temple, and he said, my children and your children is fighting with our children. I didn't know what he meant. I really didn't know what he meant, because I didn't understand the concept of my children and your children is fighting with our children. In this current society, it's so prevalent. It is so prevalent, what happens, there's multiple marriages within the lifetime. It's not, a woman can have, okay, even from that point of view, they don't even get into marriage. They become partners. They live together. And this is condoned by parents. This is encouraged by parents. Such a degraded state. We condone this. Our daughters living with men and then live with other men without the official sanctity of marriage. It is very unusual for marriage to come to a woman, and it's very unusual for a woman to be pure when she is married in this current age. So these are the kind of things that I when I first read this verse, I said that, if we can live even up this standard, it'll be an upgrade to our current society. It'll be an upgrade to our current society. We have degraded even further than what is actually mentioned now as a degraded society. Even our children, our daughters, even we come from Indian culture, they still don't follow, they consider us to be in the old time. They want to have relationships. In current days and age, if we watch on TV, we're watching movies, we're watching society, it is actually an insult. It's being ridiculed. Young boys and girls are ridiculed for being virgins, for being pure. It is a great insult to remain, pure in the current society. Now we all are living in the current society. We all understand. We can relate to this. Now imagine how degraded things are getting, and this is just 50 years. What would the culture be like at the end of Kali Yuga? Leave that. What would the culture be like for our grandchildren? It's such a degraded society. Our children born in Krishna consciousness, brought up in Krishna consciousness, guided in Krishna consciousness, know the philosophy, and then they just deviate completely. Now, I am speaking, in general terms. This might not apply to you. Maybe your kids don't do that. They are more disciplined. But in the general consensus, this is how we are raising our children. Oh, should I say we have no choice when the children follow this path. So I was thinking is that even though when I first read this verse, when it came out last week, I was thinking it is criticized so much in this verse, but from our current society, it's such an upgrade to even be able to have a relationship between a man and a woman, to have a marriage, to be attached to your children and to take care of them. These days, women have children from multiple men, and there's no care. There's no care. They just have children and they leave and go. They spawn and they leave. There's no where you take a responsibility to take care of them, to educate them, to bring them good people of society. Even the way the government system is structured, is structured so there's no incentive for us to follow very nice unions as a family unit. Mom, dad, children, sometimes mom and granddad live together. And that was the family unit not too long ago. Right now, we don't have that. We have blended families. A A lady will come with her children, a man will come with his children, and then I'll have children together. And that is why my children and your children will be fighting with our children. This is the society we're living in, how degraded it is. So the thing is that when I read this verse, I was thinking, oh my God, I wish we can even live up to that minimum standard, right? And then this verse goes on to actually speaking about even in the renounced order. We see that sometimes, you know, that the spiritual culture is not imbibed because our renounced order, our brahmanas, our sadhus, our sannyasis, they themselves, they're not setting exemplary examples, right? Once I remember, if I may share a private and confidential story with everybody, because they are all mature devotees here. I was driving Bhakti Chara Maharaj back from the retreat we had in Sunshine Coast. And we were talking about the children today in Krishna consciousness, and I asked Guru Maharaj, you know, it's such a difficulty for us to bring up children in Krishna consciousness, for them to stay, you know, unlike like if you notice on Christian societies, they have a very nice way that even though that their children may deviate a little bit, but they always have the Christian values. But sometimes we find that our children, they deviate so much. In fact, a good example, I was telling Guru Maharaj, if you look at our Gurukul system, you know, out of thousands of Gurukul children, hardly one remains in Krishna consciousness. The moment they get a taste for the outside world, they just leave and they go. And Bhakti Maharaj says, yes, that's very unfortunate. You know, it's very, very hard. We're also a young society, so we're learning so many things. At the same token, we can't blame our children for behaving like this. And this, I'm going to share you a very confidential thing that he told me. He says, see, sometimes you can't blame the children because they lost faith in us as well. If you're looking at some of our senior Prabhupada disciples, they're taking young wives. What kind of example we're setting for our children? So in this verse, Prabhupada, you know, he elaborates on that. He says, even a sannyasi, a renounced order, becomes attached to his, you know, to his little bit of things. His silk clothes. In fact, sometimes nowadays, if you look at it, sannyasis can afford a more extravagant life than us Grihasthas can. You know, they have fancy jewels, fancy watches, fancy laptops, traveling on business class everywhere. Not that they shouldn't, but the point is that if they can become attached to these you know, benefits of a sannyasi, then they lost the plot as well. So even here, the Prabhupada is stressing the point. He's stressing the point that this material attachment is so unfortunate. We identify property and wealth. Sometimes even after renounced, one becomes attached to a temple or to a few things that constitute their property of the sannyasi. So then they might have the, you know, like the disciples give them nice fancy watches. I've seen this happen. So as mature devotees, we must understand Prabhupada is warning us, no matter what stage of life we are in, this attachment is so deep ingrained in our heart. It's so deep ingrained in our heart that we can, you know, become part of the illusion of Maya, right? So the thing is that if we're looking at that example that we gave initially, the story of this mouse, it comes in a very subtle way. It comes in something that is there. He only wanted to protect his loincloth. That's all, because this little mouse is coming and eating the loincloth up. He didn't have much. He didn't have a place to stay. All he had is a loincloth, but he was troubled by this little mouse. And from that, he had to get a cat. From the cat, he had to get a cow. From a cow, he had to get a wife. From the wife, he had to get a building. From the building, he had to get servants. From the servants, he had to get a job, and caught up in this whole material nature. Ergonomically, it just happened, right? Maya never says, I will take you away from Krishna. Maya never come grab you and say, hey, I'm taking you away from Krishna, right? You know, the good example is, in this matter, if you're looking at it, Prabhupada gives a good example of a frog. If you take a frog and you put it in water, in cold water, and you slowly bring it to a boil. Slowly, as the frog will stay in that water and it'll boil to death, right? But if you take a frog and put him in boiling water, he'll immediately jump out. So what happens is we become complacent, and slowly, material nature, Maya, starts increasing the temperature. And because we are there, we get into our comfort zone, we stay in that boiling water to death. But if Maya is very smart, if she puts us into the boiling water, we will jump on immediately and say, no, I don't want this. But she puts us in there, and slowly from one thing to another, 1 degree to another, one attraction to another, she takes us away from Krishna. So she will not come and tell us, scream in our ears, I will take you away from Krishna. She whispers, I'll simply make life a little bit easier for you. I'll simply make life a little bit more comfortable for you. And again, I'll make it a little bit more comfortable and a little more comfortable. And eventually we become so comfortable that we become conditioned and we stay in the comfort zone of this material world. So this hard knot of the heart. So anyway, we're very fortunate today. Today we're very fortunate. Every verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is perfect. It's Amala Purana. It is spotless, right? Every verse. Yet occasionally we may encounter a verse that is almost feels as though the Lord is speaking directly to us, right? He's speaking directly to us. He's speaking directly for us. And this is one of those verses. If we listen carefully, if we look at and if we introspect and look deep in our hearts, we'll see deep down, no matter how good we are, no matter how wonderful devotees we are, that deep down we still have the deep ingrained attachment to this material nature, to our families, to our bank balance, to our prestige, to our name. So deep down in our heart, we might give up everything. We might even go and live as renounced order in the banks of the river, but still will become attached to our little loincloth. Something will be there. If you look deep, very, very hard to give up this attachment. All of us, we think we're great devotees, well, you all might be, but we think, oh, it's so nice. I've been a devotee for 50 years. I've been chanting for so many years. I've been doing this. And some or the other, even those things that we are attached to, the length of our time of devotees, or our we on Ekadashi, I chant 25 rounds. On Kartik, I chant 50 rounds a day. On this, I do that. So even those things, we become attached. We become, it becomes a allurement to take us away from Krishna consciousness. Rather than thinking we're doing it as devotional service, we become attached that we're doing such great things. Oh, I read Bhagavatam every day. I listen to 5 classes a day. Oh, I chant 54 rounds a day. Oh, I do this. So if we focus more on what we do rather than doing it, then that is also subtly can take us away. Now, then you'll get somebody who every time they speak about, oh, senior devotees are becoming attached to them, to how many years they've been there. Oh, that they want to hold on to a certain position. I want to do that. But in retrospect or internally speaking, we are envious of these senior devotees. So we have to be mindful about these things, right? So so yet occasionally, we come across a verse that is so phenomenal, it's so profound. This is one of those verses, right? For thousands of years have passed, thousands of years have gone past since Lord Kapila, I think it was said in the Satya Yuga. So Lord Kapila gave us this in the Satya Yuga. Thousands and thousands of hundreds of thousands of years have gone, right? Civilization has risen and fallen. So many civilizations have come and gone. The Mayan civilization, there's so many, the Egyptian civilizations have come and gone, but still the technology has transformed the world. Look at what we got. We got planes, we got cars, we got so many different things, right? Technology has transformed the world. Yet when we hear today's verse carefully and discover something astonishing, just by listening to this careful to this verse, we discover something really astonishing. And what is that? What is to we discover from this verse? Human nature has hardly changed at all. Our human nature has not hardly changed at all. It's not changed at all, right? Lord Rishabhadev. So the thing is that, see, Lord Rishabhadev is God and he's speaking to his sons, right? The Lord is speaking to his sons. But listen very carefully. He's also speaking to us, right? Because we are all children of God. We are all his sons. So this message is directly for us all, his children, in a very personal way. Lord Rishabhadev is a supreme personality of Godhead. Whatever he speaks is not ordinary philosophy or speculation. It is spoken solely for the eternal welfare of all living entities. Since we are all his children, his instructions are naturally meant for our benefit. These problems that humanity faces today are not new, right? The external circumstances may change from one age to another, and the technology, the culture, the society, the conditions may appear different, but the fundamental disease remains the same: forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. This condition exists throughout all ages, on all planets, within this material creation. It's not isolated just to me or you or or this planet or this age, Kali Yuga. From this, we can understand that because Lord Kapila was speaking this philosophy so profoundly, this was done in Satya Yuga, meaning that it was prevalent even in Satya Yuga, right? And it's only degraded since then. It's degraded so much in the last 50 years that Srila Prabhupada wrote this purport. That even if Srila Prabhupada wrote the purport now, and if Srila Prabhupada wrote this purport now, I'm sure Srila Prabhupada expanded a little bit more as well. I felt how much we degraded, even though Srila Prabhupada, speaks about this purport in such a distasteful way. In many, many ways, if even I can live up to the degraded state, I'll consider that to be an elevation in my current society, in my current circumstances, right? So the same message is repeated simultaneously and continuously throughout the Bhagavatam. This is not without purpose. Again and again, the Lord presents this tattva, this truth, in various ways and through different examples, hoping that our understanding will gradually mature and that our hearts will ultimately surrender. Why? So that our hearts will ultimately surrender. Why is he repeating himself? Why? We'll come to that. If we deeply analyze our hearts, within the depth of our consciousness, we will discover our true condition is still marked, deeply ingrained with material desires. Even after many years of practicing sadhakas, still after many years, still this condition is deeply ingrained within, of material desires is deeply ingrained within our heart. Sometimes the devotees might even promote philosophical concepts while subtly seeking to satisfy personal desires and their own sense gratification, right? This is why the Bhagavatam repeatedly returns to the same essential teachings, chapter after chapter. It stresses this subject in the hope that we will finally grasp the message and allow it to penetrate into our hearts. To repetition, again and again, the same message, verse after verse, chapter after chapter, canto after canto, right? It repeats the same message by different individuals, by the Lord himself, by the different devotees of the Lord. In different circumstances, the same message is repeated continuously, consistently. Why? Because the intent is for us to get the knowledge. Initially, the knowledge is theoretical knowledge, but through repetition, it gradually transformed into Vigyan, realized knowledge, right? It is only when knowledge becomes realized that it has the power to untie the knot of material attachment and awaken genuine surrender to the Lord. Only when we realize this, when we have realized knowledge, can we untie this knot of material nature. So why is the Lord giving us this deep message and also repeating it simply? Because he is not only loves us, right? He's giving this not simply because he only loves us, because he also cares for us, like we do our children. A good example I've thought about, when we speak to our children, we got to say them the same thing every day, repeat to them. Get up early. Oh, go do arti, pay your obeisances. Don't take so long in the bathroom. Put on your shoes. Every day, your mothers will know the same story every day. And next day, the children will do the same thing again. And you got to repeat it. Continuously repeat it. Continuously. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it so many times? We're wasting your time telling them? It's because we care. Right? We care for our children. It is our deep care, deep compassion, deep love that we tell them over and over and again that someday they'll understand. Even if it's not today, someday. And then they'll also understand when they become parents. Oh, my father taught me this. Oh, my mother taught me this. And now I'm teaching my children. And karma is a full circle. I have to tell it to them every day in, day out. And my parents are telling me, I thought, these old people were, they're becoming too pedantic. But the thing is that same with the Lord. The Lord is giving the same message every day. Chant your rounds, chant your rounds. Prabhupada said, chant your rounds, continuously the same message over and over again. He repeats it. Why? Because in repetition becomes vigyan, realized knowledge. When a point is stressed, you repeat it. So the Lord is repeating the same knowledge over and over again so that someday that knowledge will go into our heart, deep rooted into our heart. And when it goes into our heart, there's only place for one thing at a time. When it goes into our heart, then there's no place for that knot. So the knot becomes untangled or becomes cut, it severes with like a sword when the real knowledge goes in our heart. And then our sadhana bhakti starts. Right? For now, we're still on the clearing stage. And that clearing stage is repeated information. Repeated. Clean, clean. You don't go with the cloth once and wipe. You rub it, and rub it, and you rub it, and rub it. And eventually the dirt will come out and the shine will show through. That is the reason why the same message is repeated continuously. Right? So remember, if it's not important, the Lord will not repeat it. You think the Lord had nothing better to do? Right? Also, remember that Bhagavatam is spotless Purana. It's spotless. Nothing is done without an intent. There's nothing in the Bhagavatam that is excessive because it's a condensed knowledge. Remember, Vedavyas took the knowledge, and when he actually translated all the sastras, and he did not feel good in his heart, and then he asked his spiritual master. Narada Muni told him, that's because you've given everything, but you haven't given the true essence of everything. And then he milked all the shastras, and he gave the Bhagavatam, which is the essence of the whole Lord. So that means whatever is in the Bhagavatam is the nectar. It's absolute nectar. It is profound. So if it is so much profound and it's so much nectar, why say the same thing over and over and over again? Why? There must be some intentive purpose for that. So we need to focus on what is that purpose. Why is it that the Lord is repeating this? The Lord's devotees, even if you're looking at it, the same message, Narada Muni has said it so many different people. And then even though Narada Muni said it, then Lord Shiva just said it recently. Right? Lord Shiva gave the same message. Right? And then again, the Lord came himself and he gave that message. Then the Lord came in as his incarnations, and every chapter, same message. If you look at it, the foundation of every single chapter is the same. He's giving extra information here and there, and all different stories, some real and some allegoric stories, but the message is the same. Why? One day, Prabhupada, I remember listening to this one pastime of Prabhupada. Prabhupada went into, and he had a meeting. I had a conference, a 3-day conference with big scientists. And every day he told them, you are not this body, you are spirit soul. And he spoke about that. Next day, you are not this body, you are spirit soul. He spoke about that. The day after that, he said, you are not this body, you are spirit soul. And then one of the disciples said, see, Srila Prabhupada, these are scientists, they are highly intellectual individuals. Why are you saying the same thing over and over and over again? Prabhupada said, it's because they didn't get that message yet. They didn't get the message that they're not this body, the spirit soul. So I'm repeating until they get that message. So, similarly, the Bhagavatam is telling us, so that the Father's love, right? Now, why is the Lord giving us this message over and over again? Because he cares for us and because he loves us. What is the proof that he loves us? How do we know he loves us? How do we know he loves us? So the proof that I could think about, and I heard once my Guru Maharaj giving class, is the proof is Paramatma, right? You see, the analogy of Paramatma is this: the Lord is our eternal Father. Out of his unlimited compassion and love, he never abandons us, right? Because he loves us, no matter what situation we are, he never abandons us. We do the wrong thing, he still stays by us. We criticize him, he still stays by us. We make him impersonal, he still stays by us. We say that he does not exist, he still stays by us. We say that, that we don't believe in God, or we believe in multiple gods, or we deride him, we decry him. Still, the Lord never abandons us. Wherever the living entity goes, wherever we may go, the Supreme Lord accompanies the super soul. The soul as the super soul, the Paramatma. He witnesses, he permits, he guides, and he is patiently waiting for the soul to turn towards him, to take us back to God. He can't wait for us. You saw that You know, many times we saw in Gokumar's thing, he said to Gokumar when he finally went back, you know, every lifetime I thought, this lifetime you'll come back to me. And you didn't, and I was disappointed. Then next lifetime, he said, this lifetime you'll definitely come back to me. I can't wait for him to come back to me. And the lifetime went by, and he forgot the Lord, and he went away. And next lifetime, the Lord says, oh, this lifetime, I hope he's coming back to me. And lifetime after lifetime, time after when millennium of lifetimes went, and you haven't come back to me. I'm so happy that you've come back to me right now. The Lord gets so much joy, right, when you go back to him. He saw that in Gokumar's story, you know. So even though in due course, right, due to our own karma, we take birth in the most degraded species, whether as a pig or even as a worm in stool, the Lord does not reject us. Although he is the husband of the goddess of fortune. He is the husband of the goddess of fortune, right? He is Lakshminath, the master of unlimited spiritual and material opulences. He still accompanies every living entity, regardless of our condition. Regardless of condition, he accompanies us. Whether we go and becoming pigs and eating stool all day, or we become even worse, a worm in stool, we live in stool all day, still the Lord comes with us, right? Consider this example. Consider the example. If we fall into a, say you and I, or one of us fall into a pit of stool, right? So we fall in a pit full of stool, right? And I think in India we'll understand this better, because sometimes they make a pit. I remember in Gurukul, they build a temple. Under that they'll dig a hole, and then you know, like, so the entire pit is full of stool, right? Now imagine if you fall into that pit. Now we might not understand it from normal plumbing point of view in Australia, but in India, if you understand it, there's lots of pits, especially in the rural area. And what happens is full of stool. Imagine if you fall into that degraded stool. Would you think your wife will jump in to save you? Would you think your husband will jump in to save you? What about your children? Will they jump in to save you? Right? Who will jump in to save you? At the best, right? Some may what they will do is they will try to rescue us from a safe distance by throwing a rope or using some other means to help us out, right? Some may, on the same token, when you are lying in the pit is a story of life. While you're lying in the pit, some will ridicule us. Some will make every effort to push us further down into that stool. Some people, not everyone is our friend, right? A friend's frown is better than an enemy's smile. So that shows us that sometimes not everyone is our friend. Sometimes our closest friend might be our greatest enemy. We saw that in Duryodhana, right? In his uncle. His uncle posed to be his greatest friend, but deep in his heart, he was Duryodhana's greatest enemy. He wanted Duryodhana to fall down. His entire heritage to fall down, because he had a deep and hatred for the Pandavas, for the Kauravas. Right? But what Duryodhana thought is my greatest friend. So sometimes, when we lying in that pit, somebody, they'll ridicule, laugh, look at him. They will not even come and help us. When we are suffering in life, people will ridicule us. When we're lying in that pit, some will come, even push us even further down, because struggle even more, right? So no one would be willing to jump into that pit themselves, not even our loved ones. Yet the Supreme Lord, out of his causeless mercy, accompanies the conditioned soul even into the darkest and most fallen conditions of material existence. This is the unparalleled depth of the Lord's love for us. Unparalleled depth. You can't imagine the love that the Lord has for us. You can't imagine. We may think we love the Lord, we stand in front of the Lord, we do some service for the Lord. What the Lord does for us, it's inconceivable. Right? We can't even repay the Lord for even a minute thing. We might think, I'm a great devotee. I did a wonderful service. So many years I gave into ISKCON. So many years I gave into devotees. I did so much, and they don't appreciate what I did. And often we see that happen, and it's true in many cases. Devotees, when they get older, nobody is there to take care of them. Okay, in the case of sannyasis, there'll always be a disciple to take care of them. But the general devotees like you and I, as old age is creeping in, if we become in a state where we've given our whole life for ISKCON, give all life for the Lord, especially when you're looking at the brahmachari devotees, When they come to the old age and when they need to be taken care of, nobody is there to take care of, right? Take care of them. But yet the Lord has unparalleled depth love for us, right? The Lord present as the Paramatma in the heart of every living being. He is a profound testimony of his compassion. He patiently waits life after life, giving guidance from within and sending his devotees and scriptures to awaken us of our forgotten relationship with them. Constantly, every opportunity. We see so many sannyasis visiting. There's so many shastras. Our cupboards are full of books. In fact, if I sit today and continue reading, Prabhupada gave us so many books. In the rest of my life, I won't finish all the books that Prabhupada has given us. Such is the boundless love of the Supreme Lord. He never gives up on his children, even when they have forgotten him. The responsibility now rests with us to hear this instruction, to follow his teaching, and return to our eternal home in his loving service, right? So the thing is that in this verse, there are a couple of very important points. One important point is mentioned is Pumsha Shreha. It's a natural attraction, right? Natural attraction. There's attraction between husband and wife, man and woman, and is natural attraction, right? But when we use it in an unnatural state, then we suffer by it. In an unnatural state means that we prioritize our relationship, our body relationship, whether it's country, family, society, work. Then that same attraction is unnatural. But we use the same attraction while we are working. We're working for Krishna. While we're taking care of our children, we're taking care of them, on behalf of Krishna, understanding that they are, Krishna gave these good devotees in our care, and it's our duty to do the needful, right? We always do what's right. We don't do what's, I always as a parent think it's a very thankless job. We have to do what's right. We don't have to do what's pleasing all the time, right? Sometimes we don't have to feed into their deviation, should I call it. We have to do what's right. Sometimes tough love is more important than giving them consent. All right, go do and burn your hand and come back. Friend's frown is better than an enemy's smile. A parents is the best friend of the child. There's no purer love in this material world than the love of a parent for the child. Not even the child's love for the parent. There's no more purer love in this material world. So we want what's best for our children, just like the Lord wants what's best for us. So that is why Lord Rishabhdev is giving this message to his children, who are you and I, right? This knot, we'll expand on this knot, is what happens is knot is so tight from one loop, the rat, you get another loop, the cat, then another loop, the cow, another loop, all entangling loops. The wife, the next loop, the property, the next loop, the servants, the next loop, and next loop, and next loop, and that's how we get entangled in this material. If anyone saw, like when you get a rope that is badly tangled, it's so hard. It's so hard to get rid of all these tangles, and that is how our attachment is. It is quite an intensive entanglement. It's not one entanglement. We entangle to, there's a big entanglement between our family, big entanglement between our wife, big entanglement between our society, big entanglement in our work environment. Even that as well is so entanglement. Then we'll have social activities, and that's also a big entanglement. As long as Krishna is not the foundation of any of this relationship, this entanglement will be anchors in our spiritual life. Anchor, not even our spiritual life, it's anchors in our life. So Srila Prabhupada stressed repeatedly that marriage, house, land, children, money, responsibility, status, one knot, another knot, another knot. Have you ever untied like an old, like fishing knot or an old rope, like you got a 100-meter rope, and if it's tangled up, then everyone will understand that the harder you pull, the tighter it becomes. The harder you pull, the tighter, exactly like material attachment. The harder you pull, the tighter it becomes. And adding one knot does not make a solution, right? So the greatest misunderstanding. This is essential. Stay clear. Lord Rishabhdev is not criticizing marriage. Marriage isn't the problem. Family isn't the problem. Possessiveness is, right? A family centered on Krishna becomes an ashram. The same house, different consciousness. Very hopeful, right?
I can't see
So,
them.
in that regards, Haribol, can you please mute? Thank you. So, so the solution for all these problems, Bhagavan gives a solution, and I found the solution when I was doing some research in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:2:21. All right, Srila Prabhupada says in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:2:21, the same way, right, and some way or the other, if we unite, the knot becomes tied up, very strong. This is called a knot. Then as soon as the knot is there, then house, then land, then Griya, Shutra, children. In this way, one after another, we become knotted in so many things. This is called the knot. Hridaya Grayanti. One after another, just like to make it tight, you give one knot. And then if you make a really good knot, you make another knot. And if you make it really tight, you make another knot. The more knots, the more tighter. And the more tighter, the more we are stuck in the material world. Right? So how do we untie the knot? Not by pulling it harder. Not by frustration. Not by repression. With the proper method, Srila Prabhupada says, saintly association, instructions, hearing, chanting, service, every sincere round loosens that knot. Every Bhagavatam class loosens that knot. Every act of humility loosens that knot. Then repeat. Knowledge becomes realization. Gyan becomes Vigyan. The solution is said in 1:2:21. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced. And by so the solution to all this problem is given by in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:2:21. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and by misgivings are cut, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruit of actions is terminated when one sees the self as the master. When I say the self as a master, it doesn't mean become your master. It means that when you see the soul and the super soul within the heart, and then you follow sadhana bhakti. In the presence of the sun, darkness cannot stand. All right? And the relative truths that were hidden within the dense darkness of ignorance becomes clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna, who is residing in everyone's heart as a super soul. In the Bhagavatam 10:11, the Lord says that in order to show special mercy to his pure devotees, he personally eradicates the dense darkness of all misgivings by switching on the light of pure knowledge. By switching on the light of pure knowledge within the heart of a devotee. Therefore, because of the personality of Godhead taking charge of illuminating the heart of his devotee, certainly a devotee engaged in his service, in transcendental love, cannot remain in darkness. He comes to know everything of the absolute and relative truth. The devotee cannot remain in darkness, and because a devotee is enlightened by the personality of Godhead, his knowledge is certainly perfect. This is not the case for those who speculate on the absolute truth by dint of their own limited power knowledge. Perfect knowledge is called parampara. So I was a little bit amazed. Prabhupada said perfect knowledge is called parampara, or deductive knowledge coming down from authority to the submissive oral receiver, who is bona fide by service and surrender, right? Then Prabhupada went on by saying, this enlightenment perfectly enables a devotee to distinguish spirit from matter, because the knot of spirit and matter is untied by the Lord. Who unties this knot? Is the Lord, right? So the secret Prabhupada has given us in this purport is that this enlightenment perfectly enables the devotee to distinguish spirit from matter, because the knot of spirit and matter is untied by the Lord. This knot is called ankara. It is falsely obliges a living being to become identified with matter. In conclusion, Prabhupada said in that verse, In material existence, a living being creates his own chain of fruitive work and enjoys the good and the bad effects of those actions, life after life. But as soon as he engages himself in loving service of the Lord, he at once becomes free from the chain of karma. His actions no longer create any reactions. Right? In conclusion, let's end, right? So not dramatically, but see, the ancient society offered land. Our society offers technology. The ancient society offers cattle. Our current society offers career. Ancient society offered kingdoms. Ours offer reputation. The the scenery has changed. The philosophy has not. Fortunately, neither has the medicine. Hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Chant sincerely. Associate with devotees. Serve with proprietorship. Love without possession. Love without possession. Gradually, mine becomes his, and I becomes your servant. And one day, by the mercy of Shri Guru and Gauranga and Krishna, the hard knot that has bound us for countless lifetimes quietly falls away. Right? Quietly falls away. So I've got a little more to say, but I'll stop here in respect to time. And I thank you all for tolerating me. I hope I was able to say something that made some sense to all of us, because this verse I thought to be so significant, so pertaining, and so personal to myself and all of us. And I don't know how to cut this knot. All I can do is rely on the mercy of Guru, Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, and all you Vaishnavas for your mercy. And forgive me for any offenses I've committed. I didn't intend to offend anyone. If I have, it was unintentional. And if I made any errors, I beg you all to correct me. Here's the opportunity to. And or if anyone has anything to say, anything to expand, or any questions, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Shalendra here. Now, in the earlier
Hare
part
Krishna
of your class today, you mentioned about in nowadays women have multiple husbands and children from multiple husbands and all that. But it's not in nowadays.
Yeah.
It's been there in the past. In itself, the mother of Vyasdev, the author of this book, had children from other men as well. So, and that's where the whole Mahabharata started. So it's not today's trend. It has been a trend.
That's right.
In those days as well.
What was the name? Satya, right? She
Satyavati
did, but
was the
remember what
mother.
happened? What happened is when she had that child, if my memory serves me right, what happened was it was in a cloud of smoke. At that time, she was actually regained a virginity, and she regained a maiden by the mercy of that great sadhu that she had children from before. So although she did have before, because Vyasadeva, what happened was the great sadhu was traveling, and she was the daughter of a fisherman, and she had the smell of fish all the time. But she had extraordinary beauty. And when she was carrying the sadhu across the river, the sadhu got attracted to her, and then Vyasadeva was actually conceived. But after that, she actually regained a maidenship. And then when King Santanu married her, King Santanu married her, at that time she actually was a maiden again. This was the Leela. This is pastime. Right? This was a pastime of the Lord, because Vedavyas is an incarnation of the Lord. Right?
Yes,
so sometimes our activities is different from Leela. So there are sometimes that we can understand, even like we look at it, the Kunti Devi and Madri, they also had Pandu as the husband, but because Pandu could not give them children due to the curse, King Pandu, what happened was, at a young age, Kunti Devi satisfied a sadhu very nicely, right? And the sadhu, knowing what was going to happen in the future, blessed her that whoever you, because you serve me, wherever you recite this mantra and wherever you invoke, that demigod will come down and will give you a child. At the very same time, when she said, oh, let me try it out, she tried it out, and then she invoked the sun god, Surya. When Surya came down, So she said, oh, no, I was really testing the mantra out. I really don't have a child because I'm a maiden. What will people think of me if I actually have a child? So the sun god said, by my Shakti, because you invoked me, I cannot leave without giving you, fulfilling that power of the mantra. So what happened then? But he said, don't worry, what I'll do is I will endow you with a child. But that child will be born immediately. And when that child is born, what will happen is you will regain your maidenship. So that at that time, Karna was born. Radeya Karna was born, and she put Karna remember, on the Jamuna on a basket, which sounds very much like David's story in the Bible. And then Karna went down, and then a chariot driver, Radha, picked Karna up, and that's how he became a Sudra, because he was the son of a chariot driver, Radeya, became known as Radeya. So if you're looking at pastime like this, yes, there were circumstances in the past, that were extenuating circumstances where devotees were born, or mothers were born with their multiple children. But these were leelas. It's not a common phenomena. It's not a common phenomenon. These were all pastimes of the Lord. Of course, there are also times that demigods, they regressed, and where they had, there was relationship, like for instance, Somya, this moon god, had a relationship with his spiritual master's wife. And that shows us, like that also expands on the story of, in all time we get degraded. And in all planets, even the planet of Lord Brahma, even Lord Brahma himself was attracted by in the yagya of Lord Shiva by his maidservants, that he immediately he gave sperm, and the sperm was put into the fire yagya, and then the Nava-Yogandravas were born. So I'm not too sure about that, but basically that's also seems for me, because these great personalities were born from that is Leela. But what we don't have pastimes. This is not part of the Lord's Leela. This is part of our own Leela. This is degraded society. So yes, I agree with you, Prabhu. They are like our Shastras is so vast that everything is over there, but it is done inside such a minute amount. Secondly, we did say that even in the Kali Yuga, in Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, that this kind of degraded conditions were prevailing. These conditions were prevailing in the degraded way, right? But sometimes it is Leela, sometimes it is our own degraded condition. That is why even in Satya Yuga, even before Bhagavatam was there, even before Vedavyas was born, this pastime took place. So this pastime is actually expressing, I did mention that this pastime is expressing in great detail how that from time immemorial, the same knots is in our heart. Yes, in the previous ages as well, it is prevalent. That's why it said that time and time again, all the time has passed, we're degrading further, but the same old story. Last angle glory, same old story. Last angle glory, same old story. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, heavenly planets, hellish planets, same thing. The same knot in this material world is prevailing at all times. So yes, Prabhu, you are right. And that actually doesn't contradict. It actually expands the point. It reinforces the point of how strong the knot is, even between great sadhus. They'll be lying in the river for thousands of years, and they see a fish having a little of a relationship, and then in their heart, it dwells this thing. So yes, you are right. It doesn't contradict what I said. It actually reinforces how this knot is so deep in our heart. But right now, it's gone so degraded. It's unrecognizable. That's how degraded it is. That my point is, that it's gone so degraded at this age. Does that make sense, Shailendra Prabhu? Or have I expanded too much?
No, you're right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody else? Kadambani Radha Mataji, missing you today. All right. So if there's no other questions, I thank you all for joining and tolerating me. Please forgive my many offenses. All glories to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
I think I was on mute. I was just going to say.
Okay, Mataji. Yes, we missed you today.
Realize. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class. And on this verse especially, I was just thinking that, that the Varnashrama system, which we have, and Srila Prabhupada has mentioned so many times that it is so important. So it's actually something that slowly and gradually, a person, like is mentioned, that you have to accept the brahmacharya and then grasta and then vanprastha and sannyasa. So it's a gradual thing. And when after brahmachari state, and if a person wants to get married and he goes into grasta ashram, so he is the person, because he knows how to control his senses in his brahmachari ashram. And when he goes into a
Yes.
grasta ashram, he knows that he is going to have children, and he wants to train those children as Krishna conscious children. So they don't have sex like cats and dogs. So it is all regulated. So actually,
Yes.
somewhere I've read about this. It's like Grista Brahmachari. They are called Grista Brahmachari because they will have
Yes.
only for the sake of having Krishna conscious children. So this is actually making Krishna as a center and having everything regulated. Then we can progress in spiritual life. So this is very, very important thing for us as a devotee, or our children, our grandchildren. This is very important, that, and this is in the Shastra itself, the Prechetas, before they came back and did, for the kingdom, they were, meditating under the water. So all these things were there
Yes.
in our Shastras. But in this society, for us to be Krishna conscious and follow our regulatory principles, when we can raise Krishna conscious children, or we have raised Krishna conscious children, that's the lesson which we get from these shlokas, the instructions of Rishwadeva to his sons. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Mataji, one thing that troubles me a lot. See, these points are so profound. But the point is that our children think it's excessive. And we see how our children are deviating so much. How are they going to digest this, in time to come? How are they going to relate to it? How are they going to apply it in their life in mass quantity, not just one person, the odd person here and there? I mean, I hope for somehow or the other, they have this tenacity, or they have the realization in the heart, only by the Lord's mercy. I'm very concerned, about our children these days. How we going to maintain, like, we understand because we come from a culture where, there was some regulations, there was some guidelines, there was some benchmarks that we followed by. But our children, these days, anything goes, everything goes, and there's no restrictions. We can't tell them anything too. My father used to tell me, shut up. At the old age, I had to
Yeah,
shut up.
Prabhuji, that's true, because
Yeah,
I'm much, much older than you, and I raised my children there.
not much.
It was the mercy. It was the mercy of Gurudev and mercy of Krishna that they came. I tried my best. I just told them, you can do whatever you do, but on Sunday we have Bhagavatam class, and they were very young. You have to be there. You have to recite the verses which we are
Yes,
discussing. And then I prayed. But the thing is that it's the mercy of,
yeah,
your spiritual master, mercy of Krishna, because
yeah.
that's only thing. We have sown the seed, Prabhu. We have sown the seed, and it
That's all
might
we can
not
do.
sprout now, but you don't know a
Yeah,
time to come in their lives. Sometimes in their
yes,
lives, you might not be here, but there will be, because you
yes,
have sown the seed, and it will happen. And I can see that
yes.
for my grandchildren, because I couldn't do very good with my grandchildren, of course.
No, Mataji, generation after generation is getting tougher and tougher.
But we have to
And
pray
at first,
and hope for the mercy of the Lord. That's it.
only by the mercy
Yes,
of Srila
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada, Guru, is
And
possible.
I
Because
agree, I
otherwise,
agree with Mataji. Prabhuji, my children also same thing. Like I used to just do aarti with them and I chant in front
yeah.
of them and then I remind them. They are all away, they are in America and other places. So there I remind them every day, have you chanted at least one round today? And then to my
Mm,
surprise, the boy has got a wife who is a doctor. So she had to go to
mm.
the hospital. And when she brings the cases that this person was so young, he had a stroke, or she had this stroke at the age of 35, he gets petrified and he had 16 rounds.
Great, great.
The harsh reality of life.
Exactly. So, Lord has his own ways to bring his devotees in his shelter. And I pray for them
Yes.
every day that, Lord, please have mercy on them. They chant at least 1, 2 rounds and they remember you all the time. Daughter also the
The
same thing,
power of
Prabhuji.
prayers, Mataji, the power of prayer.
Yes.
And secondly, remember repetition. Chant 1 round. You're doing it every day.
Ex-
Chant 1 round. Chant 1 round.
Every day.
Yeah.
And
That actually, the repetition.
our discussions
Hmm?
on the phone with the dad, they will have all business talks, but with me, all Bhagavatam talks. What story I read today, and who was Priyavrat
Yes.
Maharaj, or who was Agnidra, like that. So
Yeah,
we have, and
The way.
mother's love is powerful. So, they have to
it
talk to
is.
mother. They miss their mom. And when they talk to mom,
Me
although
too.
mom doesn't talk about business, but they want to talk to me.
Hmm.
And so they have to listen
That's
to all
right.
that, and it reminds them of praying.
It's the same
So,
story everywhere. Yeah,
yes.
it's the same story. The mom, they talk to everything, and father, they want something. So when I get a call from my children, I know, okay, now's the problem.
Which talk about Bhagavatam, what chapter we read
Yeah,
today, and what was the nice story about it, and how
yeah,
who went where, like like Maharaj Agnidra went to the Pitralok, like that. So why Priyavrat Maharaj did
Mataji, you're
not
very fortunate
accept?
they listen.
Hmm.
You're very fortunate that they listen when you talk about things like that. Because most of the
Exactly.
kids don't want to even hear. They don't want to hear. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. They don't. They
like
won't ring
Mataji,
you.
yeah. I mean, like it's so hard even to tell them to do it, and but they still have the inclination. Like they'll still do arati now and then. They'll still go to the temple. They still use tilak. They're still vegetarians, so that they'll still do it. The foundation is still there. What we said, and all
And
we
at the
can do
back of
is we can pray for them.
Yeah, and at the back of their mind, they have that. Like American life is
Yes.
ex very, very different, Prabhuji. And like just today, what you said, people have sex here and there, and cats and dogs, all those types of things. But our
Yeah.
children, they at the back of their mind, they know this is wrong, so they never do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, they remember.
That's so good. But
So,
but I hope our grandchildren, well, Nyokr's grandchildren, my guys' children, I hope, some only all we can do is we do our best and leave the rest to the Lord. Don't be
yeah,
attached to the results. Yeah,
exactly. Lord protects.
yeah,
Narasimhadev
that's
protects.
exactly.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all very much for such a nice
Thank you,
discussion.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mahendra
Prabhuji.
Prabhu. So nice to hear you. Thank you for joining us as
Yeah,
well. Always nice having you.
thank you
And
for
and
your
every
fiery.
same goes for everyone. Always nice having you all. Thank you for tolerating me, and I hope that something was said today
Why you are
did
saying
justice to the
tolerating me?
believers.
Tolerating me. We were enjoying it, really speaking, You're fiery. Anyway, just a question came to my mind. Did the
Yes,
son
Prabhu.
follow the father's advice?
Of course they did.
Yes, they did. They
They
did.
did, huh?
They did.
All
Remember,
of
these are
them.
great personalities. Yes, all of them did that. To my
Okay.
knowledge, all of them did. But it's also said like they followed different paths. They followed the instructions, but some became grihastas, some became sannyasis, some became sadhus. So they followed different paths. All the
I
sons,
see.
they followed different, but the essence was the same. So that also reinforces that this Krishna consciousness is sublime. It is applicable to all ages, for all time, for all people, right? In whatever walk of life we may be. So yes, the children all followed very nicely. I mean, who can expect any less from the sons of God? Well, we're all sons of God. Yeah. So yes, they all followed. To my understanding, all of them followed. They followed different paths. Some became kings, and some became sadhus. Some became learned people. So they followed different paths, but they all became Vaishnavas.
The famous are Nav-Yogindras, which
Navayogendra, yes.
all that to Maharaja Nimi in 11th chapter. Mahindra Sapra Prabhuji, you should have a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam set. We have been telling you, and you should read it.
I have Mataji in Hindi, I have got now.
Then start reading, Prabhuji. Sorry, I have to tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, you should read it.
Yeah.
And maybe give
No,
class too
I'm
sometime.
reading as you go, I'm reading as you go.
Okay, no,
Yes.
just read it now about Rishabdev and his sons. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
He had no
Hare
daughter,
Krishna.
Prabhu?
He must have had, but I don't think it's mentioned.
It's not mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, but he must have had daughters. But see, what happens is because Bhagavatam is a condensed version, that means only the essential truths is mentioned. See, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami defines the definition of eloquence. Anybody knows what that definition is? That in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says the essential truth is spoken very concisely. Eloquence is when the essential truth is presented or spoken very concisely. So whatever is necessary is being told, otherwise it will become too voluminous.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, so only the essential stuff is told. What was not, what is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
of any importance is just been left out. So you must have had daughters. Yeah, you must have had. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much again for joining us.
Ki jai. I think, Prabhu, you have to close it, I think.
I will close it.
Thanks for the nice class.
Shivancha
Prabhuji.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo
Sindhu
vicha patikna
Bhyo
bhavibhyo
Patitana Bhavnebhyo
Vaishnavabhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
Namo
namah.
Namah. Jai.
Nand Koti
Jai.
Ki Jai.
Jai.
Have a wonderful day. We've got quite late today. Well, thanks to the healthy discussion. Okay. Haribol. See you all tomorrow morning. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri.